I would like to see everyone, and I request everyone to put on your cameras so that we can just have a talk. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, how are you, Madhumati?
So far, so good.
Nice to see all of you. There are a few people who have joined since from last week. Very good to see you. Welcome back. And a lot of new faces this week. Very happy to see that. So, Rahul, can you hear me? Rahul is also with us since last week. Rahul, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
How's it going? Did you try something?
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, good.
कुछ हो रहा है, चल रहा है, मूवमेंट हो रहा है कुछ?
हाँ, जो बोला था कंट्रोलेबल नॉन कंट्रोलेबल वर्किंग किया उसके ऊपर थोड़ा.
Very nice, good. If you have
Okay.
something else, you can ask again this week also, so no problem.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Naresh sir, from last week, how are you, sir?
Very good.
You are doing good?
Yeah.
चलो अच्छा है. Hi संदीप जी, कैसे हैं? So somebody is talking. I don't know if you are appreciating or not.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I had unmuted. I'm fine. Good to see you. All the best.
Good to see you too. You are driving.
No, I was. I'm in a parking lot right now.
Okay, I hope you can sit comfortably and then talk to me.
And I'm very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Great.
Generally, people with you are comfortable, so it's all good.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. A lot of new people. Nice to see all of you. Naresh sir, कैसे हैं? You were saying something, Naresh sir.
Sir, I'm better than last time.
I hope all of
No
you are
complaints.
enjoying. Yeah.
No complaints in life.
चलो बढ़िया है. अच्छा है. I hope
If
you
I
guys are.
have, I know somebody is there for me.
I'm always
I
there.
said
for you.
if there is, if I have, I know someone is there for me.
I hope you are addressing me, and I also promise that I am here for you anytime. No, don't worry at all.
I have a small message to Ruchika ma'am from my daughter.
Yeah, Madhu.
She would like to say hi to her because she was here. She was with her for a while last year.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope she's doing well. So
Oh,
nice
she's
to see
here.
you join in.
So she's just right here. So she just came to say hi to you.
Hi, Aditi. And I would love to talk to her later whenever she's free.
So for everyone, Ruchika is the senior psychologist at Faculty Minds, and she works with teenagers dedicatedly, teenagers and young women. So if in future you feel like, you can please call our clinic and talk to her.
Hi, Aditi. Let's get in touch later. I don't want to spoil the flow today, but definitely.
Yes.
Yes, please do call me. I'm looking forward to talk to you. Okay.
So nice to see all of you here. Very nice to see all of you. So it's 6:30, I think, and without wasting anybody's time, I would like to start. So let me introduce myself. I am Srimant Yadav. For the people who are new here, I am Srimant Yadav, and I'm a practicing psychotherapist. I'm a PhD research scholar in psychology, and I have been practicing for the last 8-9 years. And we have a clinic in Mumbai at Santa Cruz and Ghatkopar. So the reason why we started this platform is because after Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide, I discussed this last week also. I'm just repeating it for the new people here. Last 2-3 weeks ago, as soon as Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide news came out, I received around 3 suicide news from my clients and from my contacts, and all of them were below 30. So that really troubled me. That really upset me, that why are people doing this? Of course, I know the reasons why they are doing it, but I feel that there are so many ways you can discuss, you can talk about it, you can get rid of your problems, you can solve your problems instead of taking this extreme action. So usually when clients come to me, they usually give us different kinds of reasons for not consulting us earlier or not consulting any professional earlier. They usually say that we didn't have time. They usually say we didn't know where to go exactly for consultations. We didn't know the right person to go to. Then some people feel that they are shy and inhibited. They feel कि यार कैसे जाएं? I don't have a mental disorder. So all these kind of barriers. Some people also say that I don't have money. So मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है अभी, and I don't want to invest, and that's why I'm not coming for counseling. So a lot of reasons people have, and that's why I have started this platform to decide that I want to remove all kinds of barriers from the person who wants to ask a question and between me. So anybody from anywhere in the world who has an internet connection and a phone or a laptop can come and ask me any question. And the way I conduct my psychotherapy sessions, I promise you to do that over here. Of course, as you know, that the time constraint and the limited time which I will give for every question doesn't say that everything about psychotherapy, but I will see to it that I give some kind of insight into your problems, which will help you deal with it in a better way. At least I will try to change your perspective. Also, some people ask me, why are you doing this in a group? So that's a very fair question. The reason I'm trying to do this in a group, because as soon as you ask a question, you understand that at least 4 or 5 people are relating to your question and your problems. So it's not that you are alone who is facing this challenge, especially in the current scenario since the last 3 to 4 months. But there are many people who are experiencing challenges. There are many people who are experiencing problems. But everyone says कि ये मुझ में ही problem है और किसी में नहीं है. That's the most dangerous part, I feel. Having challenges, having issues, problems, or having anxiety and depression is not the problem. The problem is that people believe कि सिर्फ मुझे ही problem है, सिर्फ मुझ में ही problem है. Only I am wrong. This is what I feel, that this is the most dangerous part. And I feel a successful person like Sushant Singh Rajput took this extreme step is because he believed that only I have a problem. And usually people with suicides are isolated, lonely. They do not have somebody to talk to them. That's the most difficult part for them. And they believe that मेरे में ही पूरी दुनिया के problems है, and I think I should finish my life. So to cut off all these scenarios, to cut off all the barriers between a professional psychotherapist and anybody who wants to ask a question, that's why we started this platform. So without wasting any more time, I would request all of you, you can switch on your cameras. If you're uncomfortable, that's fine. You can keep it shut, no problem. But please ask questions. If you ask a question, you will understand how others also relate to you. You will feel that, Arey yaar, it's not just me. There are many people who are experiencing this problem. I think last week we saw this happen in this platform. Yes, Madhumati, would you like to tell something about that? Did you see that how people related to one person's challenges?
Actually, from Bharka's telling, her, the exact 20s issues from, the career options and everything to the midlife crisis, I should say, or whatever it is, or the baggage which has been there. Yeah. I think I could relate with each and every question. It was like for me, it was like down memory lane, and at the same time, though knowing that I have certain issues with me, but trying to sort of ease out those things. See, I don't say till it's completely gone, but of course, a step ahead, I guess, should be like.
So that's what I want to say, that once you discuss your issue, you may feel a little hesitant. I'm sure a lot of people here may be feeling hesitant about kaise पूछूं, what will people think? People will feel कि यार कैसा अजीब person है. Don't feel like that. Just express whatever you have. Just ask me whatever you have, and I promise you, I will try to answer it to my best potential. So without wasting any more time, please, I would request any one of you to start. Any one of you can come ahead and ask me a question or tell me something about you. So let's keep it very unprofessional. I don't want to sound very professional and all. ये blazer पहन के बैठा हूँ इसलिए मत सोचो कि ये doctor है. So don't feel that I am as good as you all and I have the same problems of you all are facing. It's just that because I am a professional थोड़ा सा अच्छे से face कर लेता हूँ, नहीं तो मुझे भी वही सब problems है, wife के साथ मेरे भी issues होते हैं. So don't worry, anybody of you, please share whatever you have to, whatever you want to. So anybody would like to initiate first?
Maybe
First,
I can
yes.
go, Shrimanji, if you can see
Yes,
me.
yes, please.
So
please.
you put in a very important point of the environment where a lot of people are probably dealing with this, pandemic, and the fact that you are homebound and you're not, stepping out. So that said, a lot of it is also with, the people, who the impacted people is either able to communicate or not. So it may not be just the, feeling what he's feeling. If he was able to solve it with the other person, for example, maybe Sushant Singh, I don't know exactly what's the story with him.
Yeah.
But if he were able to speak to, let's say, his friend who he called the previous night,
Yeah.
and that guy, somebody kind of sent a, a tweet, or somebody kind of put it on the news that, hey, I couldn't take his call. Like that, many times, some people are accessible and some people are not accessible. And I think that's where the whole, there is this very delicate, 2-3 hours.
Yeah, very
So
crucial,
what's
I
your
think.
advice, when people are looking into that, they've made an effort to reach out to people, but for various reasons, you've not been able to reach out.
Yeah.
And then boom, things kind of happen. What's your thought? I mean,
yeah, so thank you for asking and thank you for sharing your opinions. You are absolutely right that people who attempt it, if they get somebody to talk to, usually it is averted. Usually the person doesn't go and take that action. So let me talk about suicides and all. Giving a general picture to everyone, this is a question many people think about. Suicide is never an emergency or so let's say never sudden. Majority of the suicides, almost 95%, I would say, suicides are not sudden. There is a lot of process which goes on behind this. So let's say that at least 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, depending on the person, depending on the situation, what they have experienced, the person has experienced a lot of problems. The person has gone through a lot of stress. The person has gone through a lot of problems, but nobody has given them an opportunity to discuss it. Also, there is a taboo in India about what a person experiences. So I will give you a very simple example that you must have heard about 10th standard students attempting suicides. That is a very absurd idea which people believe कि ये 10th standard में इसको क्या ऐसे stress हो गया जिसकी वजह से ये कर रहा है. Very means unbelievable situation. People feel that adults usually tend to do these kind of things because they go through stresses of life, they have relationship problems and all of these things. But people, anyone at any age group who has experienced this, who has attempted a suicide or completed it, has been going through a lot of stress earlier in their life, which is never addressed by anyone. So for this example, a 10th standard boy attempting suicide, there is a lot of stress or a lot of pressure from parents, which is never acknowledged or addressed. The child has been going through anxiety, which was never addressed, which was never corrected. There is one state, one day, one instance, which we call a crescendo. When the person reaches its crescendo, wherein actually the person is completely emotionally numb. That is where the person takes this action. So there are two states wherein person takes this kind of a step. It can be a very highly emotionally turbulent time, something like a complete business loss or a relationship breakup or death of a loved one. So this is a very high emotional temper which the person has, and there is another temper which is completely emotionally numb. So for very easy to identify is when people go into isolation and they stop talking to other people or they stop sharing. That is a very clear sign that the person is going through some challenges. Usually what happens, people say कि इसको अपना space चाहिए, the person is not doing well, or the person is arrogant. Usually we label them as this and we leave them alone. But it's not the case. People who go into isolation definitely show symptoms of depression, anxiety, which is never addressed, which is never acknowledged. And there comes a time wherein it reaches its crescendo and then the person attempts it. So either very emotionally charged state or completely emotionally numb, wherein the person believes that there is nothing more to life. It's better I finish it. That is where the person takes. Also, you can almost avoid 100% of suicide attempts or suicide trials if you actually talk to that person. There are many cases wherein the person was actually planning. So what we call suicidal ideation. So the person was in the process of planning how to attempt suicide and complete it. They got someone to talk to and the plan was completely cancelled. That one ray of hope, that one person to talk to them and just to listen to them is more than enough to stop something like this. But as I said, someone like Sushant, I think he was emotionally numb. That's why he never discussed it with anyone. He reached a point wherein he felt there is nothing more to life. And I think this incident has actually broken everybody's myth that people who attempt suicide are unsuccessful, are depressed, are anxious. You will see a lot of pictures right now on social media wherein they are showing actually the difference between what people believe depression looks like, and they put up Sushant's picture, what depression actually looks like. So that's the true picture of depression. People do not show it. People hide it very well. And then it is never addressed and then it becomes a big problem. So success, money, fame, relationships, everything can be kept aside. Everything will go to a waste if your mental health is not in place. So that's what actually from this example we need to learn, that mental health comes at the top. There is no substitute for mental health. There is no discussion over it. There is nothing to challenge it. So I hope I gave you a little insight into what is that, what is suicide and all. So anybody else? Anyone?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I think there's a question on chat.
Yeah, Mr. Dharmesh Bothra has a question for you.
I think actually this is what I was addressing right now. So the person is unwilling to share his fears. She tries to sound cheerful and hide their anxiety. Whenever the person is hiding their anxieties, the person is actually going through depression. Also, the person is believing that he or she has some problems which others do not have. They believe that ये मुझ में ही problem है, मुझ में ही गड़बड़ है, and I am completely somewhere inferior or I am a weak person. That's what majority of the people believe, that they are weak. They are not weak at all. So the signs I would say is that very clear signs which are generic to everyone is when the person loses interest in everyday activities. If the person is losing interest in academics or job or their work, any kind of work, they are isolating themselves from people around them. Very close people also, they will try and avoid them. Avoid means they will not answer their phones, or they may say that I am busy, I cannot come out, I may not go out. All of these things. Their eating habits also change. Not necessarily they will stop eating. There are people who will start eating more. So both the sides, it can swing both the sides. So these are the simple, I would say symptoms, but I don't want to put it as symptoms because the person is going through this, and symptoms can be a lot. The simple thing is that if the person is appearing isolated and very sensitive to any kind of criticism or any kind of advancements from others to help them, then that is definitely a sign that the person is going through some challenges. Not necessarily that the person is thinking about suicide and all. So don't connect it to that. Very few people actually think or attempt suicide, but still, if it is not addressed at the right time and if it goes on, so what we call transitional anxiety and chronic anxiety. Transitional is when the person is actually experiencing some challenge which is external to them, situational or event which is very challenging to them. That's what we call transitional anxiety. There is another chronic anxiety which goes on for years and years. Let me tell you honestly, I have got a lot of clients who have been on medication for anxiety for 10 years, 15 years. There are a lot of people who are without medication experiencing anxiety for at least 2 years, 3 years, and a constant anxiety. It's not that it comes and goes. So there is a peak and there is a drop, but still people experience anxiety in a very different level. So you need to address all these symptoms. If these are the symptoms, definitely you need to address it. Yes. Anyone else, please go ahead. Let me just adjust it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar this thing. I mean, like as you said, anxiety for some people it comes and goes, or either it is continuous or. So I have this anxiety attacks. I know that. So not only anxiety attacks, but even the panic attacks. It may not be a major situation, but sometimes the smallest thing, like can give me so much of panic and anxiety. I have tried meditation and yoga and what all my friends have suggested, but still there are moments where I can't get over that anxiety and panic attacks. The recent one which I had was like hearing to the China or whatever during this lockdown and basically this. So it starts off like even my family members are just saying without any reason, why are you getting so cranky? So but behind, it's mainly in my subconscious mind which is constantly going on, but I can't tell it out. So it is there, I know it is there, but
so you want to control your anxiety?
I would really like to have some relief, because that anxiety and panic attacks, the people who are close to me can understand that I've had that, whether it's my family members, I mean, or my close friends. But there are people, as you said, either they think I'm too proud, or I'm too snob. So this is the thing.
I understand. So very relevant question today and always. I think anxiety, I would say 95% of the people who come to us have experienced anxiety at different levels, at different extremes and different intensities, and everybody goes through a different mindset when they experience anxiety. So let me give an answer in a different way. So I want all of you to imagine a person trying to catch a chicken. So if you can imagine a person, so Lagan movie में वो एक shot है जहाँ पे तो all the players are put together and told कि भाई एक मुर्गी को पकड़ के दिखाओ. And if you see, everybody starts running, but the chicken doesn't come into their hands. The chicken is running here and there everywhere, which the person can never imagine where it goes. And as a human, we just try and run behind it. That's how your mind looks when it is trying to get hold of anxiety. Anxiety is a natural mechanism which nature evolutionarily has given you. You, me, everyone, all the human beings on this planet have anxiety, experience anxiety. The problem with it happens that we start controlling anxiety. We want to control anxiety because it's a troubling factor. But anxiety, as soon as you catch hold of one reason, another reason pops up, what we call awfulizing. So as soon as you say, okay, I have anxiety about my children, so you will try and analyze it and you will say, okay, I can handle this. Quickly, suddenly, your mind will go and waver towards something else and say, okay, I am anxious about this right now. The whole point is that anxiety can never be controlled. What we do also in psychotherapy is that we never work on the anxiety. Understand, anxiety is always a symptom of some problem inside you. You have some question in your mind which you are never able to get an answer to, and that creates anxiety. Also, understand, anxiety is a byproduct of our intelligence which is given to us by nature. Because we are intelligent, we want to see what happens in the future. We want to get a control over what is going to happen in the future. So actually your intelligence becomes your biggest enemy, because you are trying to control a lot of factors which are actually not under your control. Now you said that I was thinking about China and India war and whatever the situation which is going on at the borders. It's nowhere in your or my hand what happens. We cannot influence it in any way. Not even an ounce of our influence is going to change the situation. But we still think about it. Why? Because it's our intelligence. We want to know everything. We want to control everything. Because we want to control everything, we start thinking about all the possibilities which are available to our intelligence. and all the possibilities can be millions. You may have 10,000 possibilities in your mind, and then your anxiety goes into overdrive because you're trying to gauge everything at the same time. So do not try to control your anxiety. Let me tell you very honestly. Now, what do you do then? If you can't control anxiety, what do you do? You need to understand what is the troubling factor for you, which is actually causing anxiety. What is my thought? What is my emotion? What is my worry? What is there something inside me that I'm trying to control? Very simply, I will take a very simple example which many of us may have gone through. As soon as we have our exams as a child, as a teenager, when we are going to school and college, we feel some kind of fear inside us. That's what we call anxiety. Now, what a student does is the student tries to control the possibilities. कि टीचर कैसा होगा, पेपर इजी होगा कि नहीं, जो मुझे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं वो क्वेश्चंस आएंगे कि नहीं आएंगे. All of these factors which are actually not in his or her control. That's what we do as adults. So find out what actually troubles you, the thought, the emotion, the person, anything which is constantly troubling you, and then work on the thought, not on the anxiety. Anxiety will go away as soon as your thought comes in your control. See, anxiety is an emotion which is motivated by thought, which is triggered by thought. So the first root cause of any problem, any anxiety is your thought. You need to work on the thought. Also, another thing I would like to tell is that sometimes you need to ask yourself, what is the reason I want to be in control of everything? What is the reason that I want to control everything in my life? Why can't I experience life to a certain extent as it comes? Let me tell you, the people who come to me with severe problems, severe psychological problems, there are very few. The main problem of their life is they want to control everything in their life. That actually makes them, so they are very highly intelligent people, very successful people also. But they are so anxious that they are not living their life to the fullest. That's because they are trying to control everything in their life. And then they go into a very different zone. So that's what is anxiety. You need to identify the thought behind it. If you can identify the thought, your anxiety will reduce. Work on the thought, the root cause of your thought. And always ask this question to yourself. What if I don't try to control this situation? What if I accept as it is? Because actually, very few incidences or events or situations you can actually control. You cannot control majority of the things what happens in everybody's life. So try and understand that.
So actually, anxiety ka root cause is trying the concept of controlling.
Trying to control something causes anxiety. See, understand there are two factors only. If you think about your past, you will always feel angry or sad.
Yes, to be honest, my anger and my anxiety are these two concerns. Like today, I'm in a condition where I can't take certain medications. So like the anxiety comes in like, okay, since the COVID is there, so I can't take those medications if I test positive. So I have to stick to certain natural this thing. So all this is a vicious circle. I understand that, but yes, again, so this anger and anxiety is these two things which I really want to.
So, but actually, if you look at life, whenever we think about our past, we tend to remember the bad memories more than good memories. So many a times we will be angry or sad whenever we think about the past, and we will be always anxious whenever we think about the future. So when you are talking about anger and anxiety, you are just jumping from future to past and past to future. You are actually never living your life. You are trying to correct what happened in the past and you are trying to control what will happen in the future. You are never actually enjoying your present right now, right here, where what you are doing right now in your life. So try to ask this. I don't want to correct what happened. I don't want to control what will happen. Try it with this thought. I'm sure, and many of you here may be experiencing this. I have experienced anxiety in my own life. So don't feel that because I am a professional, I may not experience anxiety ever. I have experienced a lot of anxiety in my life as a natural human being, which I have a natural process. Everyone goes through it. It's just that you need to get an awareness of where it is triggered from. If you understand that, I will tell you, you as a mother, I have all the mothers who come to me are anxious about their children. All the mothers. I will tell you, 3-year-old mother is also worried, and 30-year-old son's mother is also worried and anxious at the same level. Why? Because both the mothers are trying to say, okay, I want to control what happens with my child forever. And they are always anxious about their children. Do actually children turn up as the parents want them to?
No,
To a
not
certain
exactly.
extent, yes, you have influence over your children. But once you throw them to the world, the world is going to influence and change them and create them in a different way, which they want to be.
True.
Yes. Thank you, Madhumati, for asking that.
Thank you for that, because you know this though I had little bit insight of this, but you know why I have this anxiety and anger. It's in bouts. It's not actually a constant one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm like chilled. So these two, if I can handle. So in fact, my friends were like, you know, you should get over your anxiety. Your anxiety comes like, you know, I'm driving a car and they just make a noise, and I'm like, my anxiety goes to the top. So it has happened in the past. So they were like, no, you should try if you can address that topic. So that was the reason. Thanks a lot.
So just keep an image in your mind. You're trying to juggle a lot of balls in your hands.
Yes, that I do.
But the joke is that there is no ball in your hand.
No, but honestly, there are. Because I juggle a lot of things on a daily basis.
So that's what I'm saying. You're juggling a lot of balls which are in your past and in your future. You're actually not living in your present when you are anxious or when you're angry.
Yeah, maybe that could be the reason, because you know, when I'm really calm, so I can do the same work at a very faster rate. But when I'm anxious, like early morning, if I wake up by half an hour late, so I just get anxious. Oh, I don't think I'll be able to finish within that. So it is just that, you know, that bit of anxiety. So wherein by the end of the time I finish, I'll be like fuming. Like I'll be like, why don't you people help and all that. So, like,
but that's fine. You will get out of it. Just ask this question to yourself: that why do I need to control everything in my life?
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for asking. Okay, I have got 2-3 questions on the chat.
So starting with Devasri.
Okay. When I lose out on something, example during a match or an exam, I'm extremely mentally upset. Devasri, can I talk to you? I would be very happy to talk to you if it's possible. Is she here?
Yes, sir, she is.
Are you there? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, are you there?
Yes, facing some technical issues.
No problem. I can hear you. Can you please ask me that question? I would like to hear it from you because I can understand a lot when I hear you, listen to you.
Okay. No, so this has been happening quite a lot. So this happened 2 years back when I was playing this particular badminton match as part of my office tournament. So I had come first at one level, and then at the national level, the first match that I played against my opponent, I lost. And after that, every single match that I was playing, I was losing. So even against the weakest player, I lost, you know. And this happens quite a lot, be it a match, be it any sort of thing. So where I feel that, okay, I'm losing control or I'm not being able to, you know, succeed, I don't even feel like trying a second time because I just tend to give up, which I know I'm aware that it's wrong.
Okay.
I just don't know how to control it. So I would want to hear something from you then.
Sure. I will try and answer your question. So very simply, I will put, and I think many of you have experienced this, me too, that now any kind of competitive or any challenging situation we experience, we are experiencing anxiety. So one thing is very clear that you experienced anxiety what we call performance anxiety, what we call a future anxiety. You can call it anything, but it's anxiety. So one thing is clear, that you are experiencing anxiety. The other thing is, why do you give up? You said that even if I lose the first time, I don't even attempt, or I don't even try to do it well the next time, the second time. So there is something happening in your mind. There is something which is tricky. So let's do one quick exercise and you will understand it. I would like everybody to close your eyes. Of course, I will not be able to make sure that everyone has closed it. A lot of cameras are shut. Everyone, please try and close your eyes for few minutes, like 1 or 2 minutes. Just close your eyes and listen to my instructions. Just close your eyes and listen to my instructions. So just do whatever I say. Keep your eyes closed and do exactly how I tell you to do it. Okay? Think you are in a jungle. Imagine yourself, you are in a jungle. You're alone, all greenery aside you. Trees are very nice trees. Long, huge trees are there. And you're alone there. One thing I want you to do right now is be very careful, be very alert to my instructions. Do not, I repeat, do not think about a black monkey. Be very careful. Do not think about a black monkey. Okay? Do not think about a black monkey jumping from one branch to another. You should not think about a black monkey jumping from one branch to another. Be very careful not to think about a black monkey. That black monkey should never ever come in your mind. Okay? Yes, please open your eyes. So if you can raise your hand, tell me how many people didn't imagine about black monkey and followed my instructions properly. Right, nice. Sonali ji, thank you. You followed it to the T. All others didn't follow my instructions. I saw monkey peeping up. So now tell me, when I'm telling your brain, Devashree, now I will try and give your answer. Did you try the task? Did you try the exercise?
Yes.
Did you think about a monkey?
So I was trying not to, but at the end, towards the end, I started thinking about the monkey.
So now this is the answer to your question. What happens is that our mind wants to stop something bad which we think may happen bad in our life. The problem is that we actually attach our mind to the same thought. When I said this, that you do not think about the monkey, your mind actually went to the same image which I was telling you not to think about. This is what our mind does to everything in our life. As soon as we say, I don't want to think about that person, you are already thinking about that person.
Correct.
I don't want to imagine about that situation. You are already imagining about your situation. Why? Because your brain has to provide attention. Your mind has to provide attention to something. To say, I don't want to think about it. So the mind has to actually create an image of that thing in your mind and then say, I don't want to think about it. But your mind actually attaches to it, to that thought, to that image. Now, why you do not try the next time? Why you do not try the second time? And I actually appreciate that you are playing at national level. Kudos to you, very nice. But the challenge is that your mind is already attaching to a negative possibility. A negative possibility like you may losing out. It can be anything. So I don't know your life, but you may be worried about what will people say about you. What will my opponent say or think about me? What my coach may think about me? How will I look when I fail? What will people say when I will fail or lose the match? Sorry, when I will lose the match. All of these thoughts, 5, 6 thoughts, 7 thoughts, or 10,000 thoughts, negative thoughts have already been appearing in your mind. And you say what? I don't want to think about it. You are actually imagining it again and again and again. This is what happens whenever you are in a challenging situation. So why do you give up? You give up because the thought process in your mind becomes too much to handle. You don't want to see the negative possibilities which are happening in your mind, which have never happened in real, which you don't want to see it even in your mind. ये जो मूवी चल रही है ना, ये मुझे देखनी ही नहीं है. बट ये मूवी आपके बाहर नहीं चल रही है, मूवी अंदर चल रही है आपके. It's going on in your own mind,
Right.
right? So that is why you never actually attempt what you want to do, what you want to win it. Do you feel those thoughts coming to your mind before any competition?
No, so this happened so this was in my office actually. So in the national level, because I had gone as a winner and I was representing my head office team, so maybe there was a pressure there.
Definitely
But
there was a pressure.
yeah, so over there when I went to play the others from other regions,
Yeah.
that pressure built up. So it was like everybody was looking up to me, that okay, Devashri will get us the trophy and everything. So I
Yeah.
think that played with my mind.
So see, understand, whenever they gave you positive possibilities that Devashri is going to win for the company, win for we all are going to be proud of her, your brain started analyzing the negative consequences or the negative possibilities. अगर ये नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा? Also, you attached one more emotion behind that thought. That emotion is disappointment. Fear of disappointment. That is why majority of the coaches do not let their players talk to anyone during the matches or anything before 1 or 2 days. So they are cut off from their parents, from everyone around them. Why? Because fear of disappointment triggers into them. If even one person calls them and says, I am very confident that you will win and I am already planning a party for you, for your win. The player goes into overdrive because the person has to fulfill somebody's expectations. So you tried not to play well. You didn't think about how I will play well. You didn't think about how I will fight against my opponent. You didn't think about what are my techniques. I should concentrate on my strengths and weaknesses. What you started thinking about is, how will I fulfill everybody's expectations? This is your thought. How will I fulfill everybody's expectations? And the consequence of it was fear of disappointment.
So how do I go about blocking these thoughts? I have tried a lot. I am still unsuccessful.
That's what I showed you in the exercise. You cannot block it. See, understand, you cannot block the thoughts. If you say, as I told you in the exercise, as soon as you try to block that same thought, it is actually running in your mind. So what you need to do is, you need to actually divert your focus in what is in your hands. And you need to cut off your expectations, cut off the fear of disappointment, because you say that I am playing this match for myself, not for others. If others are happy about it, well and good. I'm not saying that this will happen before the match and after the match. Everybody is attached to some kind of expectations and everybody has pressure of expectations. But during the match, you need to understand that you need to cut off from everyone and only focus on what you can do and not satisfy anybody's expectations. You need to divert your attention to the positive things which are in your hands. Understand, in your hands. You just need to concentrate कि मेरे हाथ में क्या है, कितने मिनट का गेम है, how I will concentrate on that.
Okay.
You cannot block your thoughts. You cannot block your thoughts.
No, I'll try my level best actually, and thank you for your inputs. It actually helped. You know, seeing this in a different light. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for asking that question, and a very relatable question. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there was another question. Anu, you want to ask a question? Anu, you are on mute. You are raising your hand so I can understand that you want to ask a question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask, does diet play an important role in curbing anxiety? Diet.
Yeah, in mental or anxiety.
In increasing or controlling, like some people used to suggest that dairy products, because of these animals are injected with hormones and all that, and so we drink that kind of milk. Because I've been having this anxiety since 2007. See, a very short history. I'm the only child, so I lost my mother in 2007. So I had to look after my father. Then I I was having a ton of issues. I was in Delhi, so I went for counseling. At first, I did not understand. I was having panic attacks, and I would get up in the night. So मुझे समझ में नहीं आया, बहुत पुरानी बात है. फिर somebody told me कि counseling करा लो. So counseling के I went for 6 months for counseling in Delhi. That was 2007. But I was smart enough to understand that just the talking did not help. So that was only counseling and wasting of time, and it was not helping. Just going and wasting time and talking, it was not getting into my head. So I understood that's not helping me. So that time psychologists नहीं होते थे. तो फिर किसी ने psychiatrist बताया. So I was on that medicine for 1.5 years. धीरे धीरे फिर wean off हुआ. Cilentra करके उन्होंने दिया था मेरे को. फिर wean off करा. लेकिन then I got that issue. फिर वो it got stuck with me because वो उस समय तो खत्म हो गया. Then 2-3 साल बाद it again triggered when my husband got transferred to NF. Then when my child went abroad to study, then another child went abroad to study. So that anxiety is inherent. And now at present, like I have this anxiety whenever separation anxiety, whenever my son leaves. And now to constantly I'm stuck with this ki international flights are not, this thought has got stuck. Like today again I was having this issue कि आज फिर पता चला है कि 31 जुलाई तक international flights. That helplessness, are you getting the point?
Yes.
That helplessness, because I have enough money. I used to feel very proud of the fact, अरे मुझे क्या है, मेरा बच्चा है, मैं कल का टिकट खरीदूंगी, चले जाऊंगी. वो जो मेरा एक क्लॉस्ट्रोफोबिक वाला फीलिंग आ जाता है, अरे आई कांट गो. एक ही चीज थी, वो भी भगवान ने छीन ली कि भाई हम जा ही नहीं सकते अपने बच्चे को, ना बच्चा आ सकता है. I mean, this is the worst hit. I have got over the death of my mother. I have got over the death of my father. But this problem that I cannot visit my son who is stranded in another country, ये इतना बुरी तरह से this thought, this plays havoc on my mind. कि एक बार चाहे मैं जाऊंगी नहीं, चाहे I will not go. अगर कल फ्लाइट चलेगी, आप मुझे बोलो टिकट लेके जाओ, I will not go. But वो एक बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल है, अरे हम तो जा सकते हैं, I can go, he can come. So ये है प्रॉब्लम. सो यहाँ पे मैंने अभी दिखाया था डॉक्टर को, किसी ने मुझे समझाया था. सिलेंट्रा was not like I was not able to handle that medicine. तो किसी ने मुझे एल्म कर अभी दिखाया था, तो उन्होंने मुझे दिया. उन्होंने बोला you're okay, you're all right, because I'm into chanting and meditation. लेकिन ये कभी कभी हो जाता है, इतना तेज अटैक होता है एंड उस समय दिमाग नहीं काम करता. आई हैव टू टेक देन दैट मेडिसिन. सो फर्स्टली आई वांट टू आस्क कि कोई डाइट, इसमें मैं डाइट या ये ब्लॉक के ये दिमाग तो बड़ा डेंजरस वाला थॉट है ना, ये गेट स्टक की फ्लाइट नहीं चल रही है, फ्लाइट नहीं चल रही है, ये तो दिस इज किलिंग.
I know it is difficult for a lot of people, and I can see how difficult it is for you, definitely. But I will tell you very honestly, your problem is not in your thoughts. Let me tell you something. What everybody is telling you something wrong.
Okay.
I will acknowledge something. What you are experiencing is you are feeling lonely. Let me tell you, let me address this very delicately and sensitively to you, that you are very lonely, Anu. And the loneliness is actually killing you. It's not your thoughts. It's not even the possibility that you can travel abroad and go to your son or daughter. You will not go. But the emotion that you are lonely is the most troubling thing. And you have been lonely for a lot of years, not just now. Did you have friends?
Yeah, I have cousins. I have actually very good support system. I have 2 of my cousins who are, I'm very, very extremely close to my cousins. They are like me because I don't have any other sibling. So 2 of my cousins बहुत ज़्यादा supportive हैं, तो उनसे I share. And एक 2 friends हैं, बाकी parents तो कोई है नहीं. और
yeah. So I will tell you something. What medications you may be taking? Medications are on the symptoms what you experience.
No, but I don't take medication. It's only SOS.
Okay. So you took it for 1.5 and then you stopped it?
2007 में लिया, 1.5 साल, फिर बंद कर दिया.
Okay, that's
फिर एक बार 2009 या 10 में 6 महीने लिया होगा, बंद कर दिया. And now also it's only like जब मेरा बेटा जाता है उससे 3-4 दिन पहले, उसके 2-3 बाद, then I'm on back on track. या अभी 1 महीना पहले I had to take medicine because इतनी जबरदस्त अटैक पड़ा मुझे. then I have, मतलब
So
ऐसा नहीं
now
है कि
try
रोज
and
रोज
identify,
हाँ
try and identify
हाँ
where this attack is coming from. You are going into panic attack not because you have actual problem, any problem right now.
yeah
Do you have any problems in your life right now which are not solvable?
no, I think I have faced worst I have faced. This is a very good time of my life. I have faced a lot. I
So
think
right
वो
now,
nerves weak हो गई है मेरी. मैंने बहुत तकलीफ और बहुत let down और बहुत ज़्यादा अकेले, मतलब it was not easy visiting a psychiatrist alone, visiting a counselor, क्योंकि आप किसी से बात नहीं कर सकते थे. मुझे समझ में आ गया था that I am having this issue और बहुत मेडिकल सीरियस इश्यूज हो रहे थे और मैंने किसी को बताया भी नहीं, बहुत ही चुपके से अपना ट्रीटमेंट, और उस समय इतना टैबू होता था. I did not
yeah,
even disclose this thing to anybody,
yeah.
and my children were very small, and all this problem only 2 of my sons, so I don't disclose all this to people. I just keep my distance. I'm a very vulnerable, sensitive person.
So
I
that's
keep
what
my distance.
So now you see, you said all of those things which I pointed out to you, but you are not able to acknowledge it. Your problem is not in your thoughts. You are like how you are saying that you have faced a lot of challenges and you have come out shining. That shows that
Yes, I have बहुत issues I have.
that's commendable. That's really, I appreciate that. Now you see, there is some emotion attached in you which is not going. The trouble you are experiencing is not the problem which you are experiencing right now. So there is no real problem in your life right now.
Right now there is no problem. There is no problem.
Exactly. So when there is no right now, there is no problem as such, which will cause your panic attacks. Then where are the panic attacks coming from?
I think I'm visiting the past. Yeah, people who have wronged me. Yeah, because मेरे को अब बर्दाश्त नहीं रह गई है. I do not have not even this much of
tolerance towards people.
Not at all. I cannot. Anybody doing, I cannot take shit.
Actually, good that you have vented out here, and thank you for sharing with every one of us. Now understand that you have been experiencing loneliness for a long time. Whatever you are saying, the angst which I can listen in your voice, in your sound, I can identify clearly that you are lonely. Lonely, that doesn't mean that you do not have a support system. Lonely because you are not able to attach and form healthy relationships with people around you, because some kind of insecurity troubles you always. Try and understand this. You need to identify that insecurity. I will try and help you here, but of course this is a very short period.
No, but I have a healthy relationship with my cousin and with 2 of my sons.
So let me guide you more into this. Whatever you told me, the good part of it is your conscious mind, which is in your control, which is saying that I have healthy relationships, I have good friends and cousins around me, I do not have any problem currently in my life, and I am absolutely sound, physically, mentally, financially, socially. The trouble is in your unconscious mind. Why I say unconscious mind, which is almost 80% of every human being. 20%, only 20% is our conscious mind. There is a lot of information, lot of knowledge, and lot of memories which are stored in our unconscious mind, which actually rule us to a large extent, which we are not aware of. Now, in this unconscious mind, there is some kind of loneliness, but the loneliness doesn't come from your adult years. The loneliness comes from your early years of life. I will have to discuss what happened with your mother and how was your attachment with your mother. But let me tell you, as an only child, you were a person who was highly attached to your mother.
I was totally dependent. That broke my back.
Yeah. So now understand, when a totally dependent daughter who is absolutely dependent on the mother consciously tries to separate herself and live an individual life, individualistic or independent life, but the unconscious is still attached to it. For everyone here, I would like to address this. Unconscious mind has already started when you were in your mother's womb. Your unconscious mind has started functioning from that age, before your almost 4 months or before your birth. Your unconscious mind has already started functioning. What you experience after that has all gone into your unconscious mind. After your birth, almost for 8 to 9 years of your life, you are completely unconscious. What do I mean unconscious? We are unconscious to the external world. We grasp, we absorb all the information that comes to us unconsciously. We do not filter it out. We do not analyze it. We do not address it. We adapt to everything what comes to our heart, to comes to our mind in an unconscious way. Actually, nature has given us that technique to help us learn better. If as a child you start deciding what I want to learn and what I don't want to learn, you will never learn. That is why the brain is very unconscious in the initial years of life. That is why you learn 4 languages as a 4-year-old. You never know how did I learn 4 languages. Now as an adult, if I tell you to learn 1 language, you will take 5 years. But you learn 4 languages without any effort actually. That's because your unconscious mind was very primed to absorb all the information what's out there. Now in these years, there was some information which your brain accepted. What your brain has accepted is, I cannot function without my mother. When your brain, your mind has got this signal and accepted it as a truth that my existence is not there without my mother in my life. Now as an adult, you started growing, you lived your individual life, married, had children and everything, but that unconscious mind is still attached to your mother. Have you been able to come to terms with your mother's death?
Now I am. I've
How
lost
many
my
years it has
father and
been?
mother. Pardon?
How many years it has been?
She died in 2005.
Okay, so almost 15 years. How old were you?
2005. Pardon?
How old were you when your mother passed away?
35, 36.
Okay, fine.
But I was emotionally very much dependent on her.
That emotional dependency is still creating loneliness in you. See, understand?
So now actually independent हो ही नहीं पा रहे हैं. उसके बाद पापा साथ तो इतना साथ हुआ नहीं. पापा से तो इतना नहीं. I was looking after my father. Yeah. My boys are very strong actually. And my sons are very strong. Although I'm a mother, but मुझे ऐसा लगने लगा है, which is not a good sign, that I'm depending on them emotionally. I'm depending on them. As a mother, they should be depending on me. But
so it's not your conscious mind which is dependent on anyone, not even your mother and your children, not even your husband. It's the unconscious mind which is holding on to the memories of 4 or 5-year-old, which is still dependent on the people around you and the people not around you.
Yeah.
So what you need to address is your emotional attachment. Also, I would tell you what we call is avoidant and dependent attachment with the mother. So insecure attachment with the mother has to be addressed first. Unless you let go of your mother in your mind, not the adult version of you, understand that?
Yeah.
The child version of you, which is stuck in those memories, that insecurity is coming from there.
Okay.
If you let go of your mother as a child, only then you will become a fully functioning, individualistic, independent person. So your loneliness is coming from that insecurity. That's why in the first instance, when I started, I said that you're lonely. You're lonely not because people are around you. And how can you be lonely when people are around you? No, you're lonely because you're looking for that comfort, for that security, which was provided to you in the very early years of your life.
Yeah.
That is why you are still, as a woman right now, what is your age today?
50.
50. At the age of 50 also, see that you are still feeling that you are emotionally dependent on your children.
Yeah, I am.
Looking for that security, that emotional security which your mother provided to you.
Yeah, and that's such a, very, very strange, because my mother was a very mentally strong person and I would want to be like her, but मेरे यहाँ उल्टा ही हो गया, that मेरे बच्चे are supporting me emotionally. I'm leaning on my son, especially the one who's in Dubai.
Yeah.
वो जो cut off हो जाता है, उससे वजह से मेरी problem वो problem बहुत मेरे को
actually
I want my children.
Taking your example, I would like to address with other parents also who are here. Whenever the parents become too strong for the child always will become dependent.
Independent. Yeah, agree with
you. You need to be very aware that you as a parent shouldn't become a banyan tree. Nothing grows under a banyan tree. Nothing grows under a banyan tree. So try and not be a banyan tree for your children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, Anuji, you need to address that emotional insecurity which you are experiencing. You need to address that.
Yeah.
Only then your loneliness will go away. Your loneliness is not because people are not in your life. Your loneliness is because that emotional security which you got as a child, as a baby, is not there.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
you need to address.
Yeah. Yeah. But any diet would help? Any particular diet I would cut down or increase?
For your emotional emotional anxiety, diet will not help. You need to address it emotionally. Diet, of course, for others also and for you also, diet to a certain extent will help, but not with your anxiety.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. I hope I gave you a little insight into what is happening with you.
No, lots.
Work
I'm
with
feeling
your
better.
emotion, energy, your loneliness will go away. Work with your emotions. I know it is very difficult, but let go of your mother as a child. You are still holding on to that मम्मी का पल्लू पकड़ के रखते हैं ना हम, तो you are still holding on to that.
वो बहुत बड़े तक बहुत प्रोटेक्टिव और वो करते हैं ना पेरेंट्स. दैट इज बिल्कुल आपने सही बोला, करना नहीं चाहिए. बच्चों को आप वीक बना देते हो मेंटली, बहुत वीक बन जाता है फिर वो, बिकॉज आप उसको इतना प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हो आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड से कि फिर वो अपनी बैटल्स फाइट करता ही नहीं. तो गिर के स्टम्बल करके सीखा फिर मैंने तो.
Yes.
वो इतना प्रोटेक्टेड थे एंड मेरी मदर बहुत मेंटली स्ट्रांग थी, तो हमको तो बिल्कुल ऐसे दबा के रखा कि वो हो ही नहीं पाए कभी स्ट्रांग.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I am sure other parents here in the group are learning from you. Are definitely learning from you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
And you are not lonely, Anuji. We all are here. Many people are listening to you, and I am sure many people have related to you what you are experiencing. See, Devashri has already said that, and we all feel lonely at some point of our lives. Definitely. Even we have 10 people in our families, even if we are living with 25 people in our joint families, we do feel lonely.
Yeah.
That's why you need to address it. Loneliness is inside you, not outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
for asking.
Thank you.
Yes. Madhumati ji is addressing to what you have said. She is also realizing some things. Thank you for sharing that also, Madhumati. So any other question there? Siddhi, can you tell me what are the questions in the chat?
Yes, sir. So the next one is from Miss Shilpa Raheja.
Okay. Shilpa, can you please talk to me and give me a little bit about this? How do you equip people who belong to dysfunctional families? Some family members are toxic. Okay, in a situation like the lockdown. Shilpa, can you talk to me? I would really like to talk to you. Is she here? I think Shilpa is not.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Here, so she's here.
Okay, you cannot put your audio or video. Okay, so I need to get a little brief as how Anuji shared something of her life with me. That gives me a better understanding, but I will still try and address your question. How do you equip people who belong to dysfunctional families? Now, when we say dysfunctional, we need to understand how dysfunctional. They are clinical cases, they have clinical disorders, or they have problematic behavior. Problematic behavior wherein the person is as normal as you and me, but having some behavioral issues. Clinical disorders, again, clinical disorders, you will have to go in depth, and of course, with a lot of psychotherapy and medication, you need to deal with clinical disorders. But still, I would take it in consideration that the people in your family are not dysfunctional, not clinical patients, where relationship with certain family members are toxic. Let's address this question, and many people do experience this. Why do relationships become toxic? Why do we feel that any relationship which is so close to us, our family member, our parents, especially a lot of people feel it with their parents, spouses, husband, wife, children also. So what is the difference between healthy relationship and negative or dysfunctional relationship? And a lot of people experience it at different junctures of our life, at different people in our life, also with family members. Somewhere you need to understand that there is a different kind of relationship when we talk about very close people. Romantic relationships, family members, parents, children, all of these emotions are based on, all of these relationships are based on emotions and not thoughts. First, you need to address that. This is an emotional relationship wherein you are invested emotionally. Of course, thoughts and behavior do come into the picture, but the first bond which you have with all these people in your life is emotional. Now, as soon as these people say something to you, they pass on a negative stimulus to you. Either they say something or they do something to you and everything. So they pass on a negative stimulus to you. What we call is action. Very simple to understand. I'm trying to simplify so that everybody can understand. Whenever a person passes on an action, you immediately give a reaction. So action and reaction. Now the problem with family members and close ones and loved ones is you are in constant friction with them, which I majorly see with my couple clients. Husband wife are so in friction with each other every day, 24/7. We are influencing each other. That is why that is an emotional bond which is much stronger than any other relationship. Now, if in this somebody passes on a negative action towards you, you immediately respond with a reaction which is again negative to them. And then what we call is circular causation. You form a loop. Negative diya, negative aya. This is what you form. And because you are in close proximity, this happens again and again and again. The other challenge with close relationships is, as you said, family. We do not understand that everybody is an individual. We start thinking in collectivist nature. कि we start saying कि हम है ना, तो हम एक पूरा एक unit है. In a family, we absolutely forget that everybody is an individual. We do not consider them as individuals. आप इस family के member हो, तो आपको family के हिसाब से behave करना पड़ेगा. This is what belief we carry, and majority of us do practice it, especially in Indian culture. In Indian culture, we are collectivist. We are not individualistic like Western countries. We are collectivist. हम collection में, हम में सोचते हैं, मैं नहीं सोचते, हम में सोचते हैं. अब whenever we think about in us, we are always entangled in that. So quickly, if you understand that your emotional attachment becomes an emotional entanglement. Whenever it becomes an entanglement, it becomes very negative for anyone and everyone in the family. Because you do not correct what are the problems, what are the issues in your life, in your relationships. And they are overlapping on it again and again and again because you are constantly in close proximity. There is no way to get out of it. As you also mentioned that due to lockdown, people are at home 24/7. That's very challenging. Very true. That is because this emotional entanglement becomes so toxic and negative because it's happening again and again. The simple thing what you need to do is you need to address that you are entangled and not attached. You need to change your perspective from entanglement to attachment. Why are you living with this person? Why are you with this person? Either family member or husband, wife or children. Why are you with this person in your life? You need to address that first. Second thing is communication. Let me tell you honestly, 99% of the people say हम तो बात करते हैं, but हम बात नहीं करते हैं. There are only two things which we do: blame and complain. And we believe this is communication. No, blaming and complaining is not communication, because as soon as you blame, the other person goes into defense. अच्छा तुमने ऐसा बोला, मैं तो ऐसा हुई नहीं. Blame and defense mechanism, which is the worst kind of a cycle which anybody, even couples who come to me, are stuck in. That's what you need to change. Try and address your issues without complaining, without blaming someone. Say, we have a problem and let's address this problem. Instead of saying, तुझ में problem है, तुम में problem है, तू ऐसा करता है, तू ऐसा ही है. This is blaming. Blaming can never promote healthy communication. Do it without blaming. Try it without blaming. Try it without complaining कि भाई हम दोनों इसी family में रह रहे हैं, इसी घर में रह रहे हैं. Something is wrong between us. Let's address this. Also, I am sure that many members will not be comfortable doing this. Or the other person in your family may not be reciprocating positively towards your advances. That is also I understand. what you do is you try and change your 50% of your interaction with that person. If you can control the 50% which you have in your hands, the other 50% will automatic change. You may not believe कि कुछ लोग तो ऐसे ही होते हैं, उनको तो कुछ भी बोलो फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता. But no, if you change your 50%, the other person will definitely change their 50% slowly and steadily. So right now, keep this in mind. Don't blame and don't complain. Address these issues as a problem for all of you family members or spouse or children or parents. I hope I answered your question to a certain extent. Thank you for giving us that question. Yes, Siddhi, next question is?
From Miss Shweta M. She asks, any tips for long distance relationship which have passed more than 3 years and when marriage is still 2 years far?
Shweta, can you talk to us? Are you there? Please talk to us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Shrimant.
Hi, Shweta. Please, I would like you to ask that question because everybody can listen and understand from it.
Yes, I've been in relationship since 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So I wanted tips for long-term distance relationship.
What kind of challenges are you facing, Shweta? There are
feel
many tips, but
I feel things have changed. I mean, in the behavior also like losing interest, kind of frustration sometimes.
Okay.
Romance is vanishing. Yes, it is there, but sometimes I don't know, many problems. Sometimes I feel everything is good, but sometimes I feel no, it is changing.
So again, actually, this can be a continuation to the question which Shilpa asked. Again, understand when you are talking about your boyfriend, he is your boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Fiance or husband, boyfriend?
Boyfriend, husband, to be husband.
To be husband, okay. So whenever we again talk about such kind of a relationship, it is again an emotional relationship. So now what you are experiencing is emotional distance. The physical distance doesn't matter. Long distance mein physical distance doesn't matter. The emotional distance matters. Let me tell you, there are many couples who sleep on the same bed every day, every night, but they are still not attached. They have so much distance in them. What do we call this distance? This distance is the emotional distance. Somewhere you are experiencing that emotional distance. Have you tried to address it with him?
Yes.
What is his response?
He do understand, and he says the same thing, that we are far away, so this could be the problem.
Okay.
And he tries to sort also. He talks also.
Okay.
Spare time also. But then he is also facing the same issue like me. I mean, he is away from family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now see, you both are experiencing emotional distance. You need to understand what is the reason you are feeling extremely distant. Now understand there are some problems which you both as individuals may have, because of which the emotional distance is caused. There are some reasons which are out of your control. So he may be facing some challenges in his family or at his workplace. You may be experiencing some challenges. So these kind of stressors, every couple goes through. What we call stressors: financial, social, work related, family related. Now these stressors become a problem for any healthy functioning relationship. So there are two kinds of problems which you need to identify, which are caused by you and him as individuals, how you both are as individuals, and what are the other stresses which your which your relationship is going through. The first one, if we talk about your you both as couple, how you are as towards each other, the emotional distance may be going away because the problems are too much right now to handle. You both as couple are experiencing a lot of questions which you are not able to address. What you are doing is you are trying to solve a problem. You're not living the relationship. What we do in life is, so there is a saying, what is life? So somebody asks you what is life, life answers that I am that thing which goes by you when you are busy planning other things. So we tend to solve our problems a lot instead of actually living what we are having in our life. We tend to solve the problems. So what you are doing today is you are trying to make the relationship perfect.
Exactly.
Okay, exactly. Okay, thank you. When you try to make the relationship perfect, you are trying to fit it into a mold instead of living it the way it is. Try and understand. Whenever you try to make it perfect, the problem with is that, so let's say right hand se main try kar raha hu to make it perfect, left hand is actually finding more flaws in it. The more you try to make it perfect, the more flaws you see. And as the flaws keep increasing, you feel that there is nothing left in this relationship, and then the emotional distance follows. So what I would suggest, the first tip for you, and I think the only tip for you is stop correcting your relationship and start living it. See, let me tell you, whatever happens in the future, long distance people, the most they are worried about is what if the relationship breaks up. But let me tell you, the state which you are in right now, if I go 6 months, 1 year ahead, do you think the relationship will last in the state you are in which?
No.
So what actually you are doing is the thing which you are most afraid of, you are actually planning for it.
Okay.
Instead of making it perfect, live the relationship and let him enjoy and you also enjoy the relationship. Only then you will see a positive future and your emotional distance will reduce. If you try to make it correct,
right,
you will only keep seeing flaws and problems in your relationship. And then फिर क्यों हम रिलेशनशिप में क्यों हैं? दिस इज व्हाट द क्वेश्चन गोज ऑन इन योर माइंड. अरे इतने सारे प्रॉब्लम्स है, इतने सारे फ्लॉज है हम दोनों में, उसमें ये प्रॉब्लम है, मुझ में ये प्रॉब्लम है, हम तो एडजस्ट ही नहीं कर सकते एक दूसरे के साथ. All of these list goes on and on and on. But understand the people who are married, understand the people who are living for 20 years together also face the same challenges. So emotional distance is not because you are away from each other. Emotional distance is not because you are not meeting every day. It's because you are trying to correct your relationship in such a way that you can guarantee future. Don't try to guarantee future. Live your relationship for today.
Right.
Enjoy it for today. Enjoy your boyfriend and your relationship as something, there is someone to love you. Don't try to correct it.
Right. I will follow your advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking that question. Thank you.
Yes.
So much. Thank you. Yes. So we will go to the next question.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes, please, Samir, go ahead.
What I wanted to ask was, like, as you said that we can't avoid thinking about the monkey. Like, if you said avoid thinking about the monkey, we can't avoid it. So when anxiety appears, what is the healthiest way to process it? We can't avoid it completely, just as you said.
Yeah. So now again, see, dealing with anxiety is not going to be so easy for any one of you. So don't feel sad that I'm not able to control my anxiety. Anxiety is such a thing that it's actually like a bouncing ball. It's more difficult to get a grip over it. But can you repeat your question again, Samir?
Basically, what I'm trying to say is that anxiety is unavoidable. So how should we process it when it appears? Like, we can't completely avoid it.
So very good point. What you mentioned is unavoidable. Yes, anxiety is unavoidable because it's a natural mechanism which nature has given it to us. So it's unavoidable. Very sure for it. Be very sure of it. The next thing is you cannot run away from it because it's inside you. It's not outside. आपके सामने शेर आएगा, आप शेर से दूर भाग जाओगे, then your anxiety will go away. That's what we call situational anxiety. But if you are going through something inside, where will you run away from it? So this is a good point that it's unavoidable and you cannot run away from it. So how do you address anxiety is by understanding the thought process which is triggering. Majority people who face anxiety are trying to control something. What do you try to control when you experience anxiety?
I don't try to control anything as such, but it's just memories from the past and some anxieties about the future. It is not just one kind of anxiety. Like you said, thinking about the past as well as the future triggers anxiety. So I just want to reduce it and process it in a healthy way.
So if you want to reduce, you need to control your thoughts. Again, controlling thoughts means doesn't not blocking it out. You need to direct your mind to a certain way of thinking instead of letting it control you and letting it go haywire. Thoughts are automatic many a times, and automatic thoughts cause anxieties. So you need to make your mind specific that what do you want to think about and what do you want to follow and develop on. So that is the first thing which you do need to do with anxiety. The second thing and the most difficult thing actually, which I encourage all my clients to do, and they have actually done it very brilliantly, is that face your anxieties. Very difficult to say, sorry, very easy to say, very difficult to follow. I know that. But you need to start trying to face your anxieties in small proportions at least. So there may be some person who always triggers anxiety. There may be a situation which always triggers anxiety. There may be a place which always triggers anxiety in you. So various people have various kind of anxieties. You need to start facing those anxieties in small ways. Because what your brain is learning is that I don't want to face the consequences of what is in front of me. As soon as you face consequences, your anxiety runs away. Your anxiety goes away. So actually what we call is systematic desensitization. This technique is used all over the world. Even people who are experiencing fear of water, fear of heights, tall buildings, all of these things, we do systematic desensitization wherein we actually help them face that stimulus which causes anxiety. The anxiety triggering stimulus is hammered again and again and faced again and again, due to which the anxiety subsides, the thought process changes. So what, Samir, you need to do is, first, you need to get your thoughts in control. Second, do not try to control and be perfect. That's what causes most anxiety. The third one is try and face the anxiety which is actually troubling you. If you face it in small proportions, I'm not saying that just go and jump into it. That is difficult. That will not be possible for many of you. But small proportions of exposure to the same stimulus will actually reduce your anxiety to a certain extent. And if you keep repeating it, it will go away completely.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yes, thank you so much for asking that question. A lot of people are dealing with anxieties, and this was a relevant question, definitely. A relatable question too for a lot of people. Yes. Any Siddhi, next question, please.
So we have two questions from Mr. Sandeep Bothra. The first one is, generally we like to control things and outcomes when we don't trust people around us who are managing things for us.
Yeah. Sandeep ji, can you talk to me, please? Are you there? Is he there?
Yes, sir. He's
I'm
there.
very much there.
Please,
you may get some
talk.
background noise, so I apologize.
That's fine. That's fine. Please.
No, I this was in relation to the conversation that you were having, that generally, you know, when we like to control things, that's where our anxiety. So I had made a comment then that generally we like to control things when we don't trust, you know, our environment or our group of people or the situations around us. That is when you need to control everything.
Yeah,
I've faced these situations in work environment, and I've seen various colleagues respond in a particular way. And whenever they, and I have myself personally seen that whenever I am doing certain things, I have much more, confidence that things will happen in a particular shape at a particular time.
Yeah.
And as we become, managers of managers, you have to kind of let go. And sometimes it's a big,
So
wrestle in the mind.
Delegating work to others becomes challenging.
Correct. And it's a lot of, while on the outside, many times, many senior managers would come out as confident, but in their mind, they would keep wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was just sharing a point on that.
So I will address your question in the context of workplace. Let's try and address in the context of workplace. As a manager, as a senior, you need to learn how to delegate tasks to your juniors. And then you find it challenging to do that because somewhere unknowingly you believe that they may mess up, or you are the only person who can do it correctly. Try and understand this. Whenever we have this belief system that only I can know, or only I know how to do it perfectly, that is why I cannot trust others. Now, this is a challenge which many people face, and many people face it at work, at home also. So spouses cannot give to work to their husband or to their wife because they believe कि मुझे ही सबसे अच्छा आता है, तू मेरा husband को दूंगी या wife को दूंगी तो खराबी करके आएगा. They tend to believe about children also. So everybody experiences this in different contexts. Now, the underlying belief behind this kind of behavior is one thing which you need to understand is we believe that I must be always in control of things. People who cannot delegate work to others have this belief system, strong belief system, which they accept as fact, that I must always be in control. As soon as you say I must always be in control, giving away control is the worst thing you can do. It's the most difficult thing which you can think of. So I must always, many people experience this at very small levels, at very severe levels. I must always be in control is such a strong belief in so many people that they cannot delegate work. Understand, I must always be in control always tells you that you are not in control. Let me tell you how. The same thing what I said about the monkey example. As soon as your mind is thinking, I must be in control, I must be in control, I must be in control. What your mind is saying to you is, I must be in control, means you are talking about a future possibility. As soon as you talk about a future possibility that I must be in control, your mind is right now registering at is, I am not in control. Understand? So whenever we talk about future possibility, I must be in control, your mind is already learned, I am not in control. My God, I am not in control, I must be in control. This I am not in control, this is the most underlying belief which you don't even acknowledge, address, or are aware of, is triggered in you. And that creates two negative things, insecurity and anxiety. Now, anxiety is a common thing which is not a problem, but the insecurity creates trust issues. So the real problem that people cannot delegate work to somebody, to their juniors, to their spouse, to their children, to their relatives, to their employees, to their peon, is because they always want to be in control of what is going to happen. The more they want to be in control, the more their mind tells them that you are not in control. So insecurity and anxiety is a clear-cut byproduct, and insecurity causes trust issues. So if you are saying that I am not able to delegate work to my juniors, is because you want to control a lot of consequences. Now in work context, if I take this question as a workplace context, there is no possibility that you can do all the work on your own. So you will have to some or the other day delegate some work. So how you will do generally is that you will start giving instructions, clear instructions, or let me say orders. So you will give very clear, crisp instructions कि ये ऐसे करना और ये ऐसे ही करना, इसमें इधर के उधर नहीं जाना. So what you are doing, you are delegating work, but you are giving a list of instructions कि इसी को follow करना, donkey जैसा, अपना दिमाग मत लगाना, donkey बन के इसको follow करना. That's what we are doing. What we are doing is we are trying to control the consequences again. The next thing what you may try is, there are 10 people, there will be 1 or 2 person maximum who you can trust. You will say, अच्छा मैंने इसको दिया है ना तो ये कर सकता है. But that person has come to that level only because that person has been a good donkey to you for a lot of time. So that good donkey becomes your good person, trusting person, the person who you can trust. But understand, you are still trying to control all the consequences, which you cannot actually control. Honestly speaking, you have seen life as good as me. So you know that you cannot control a lot of factors, and still mistakes and wrong things are bound to happen. Now, why do they happen is because you never create a person who is trustworthy. You create good donkeys who will follow instructions. That is never productive for you. Don't create good donkeys who will follow instructions and do what you say. You need to create individuals who can take decisions. That is a much better way of controlling the consequences instead of giving instructions. Because how many people can you actually sit and give instructions to? You cannot humanly sit with everyone of your juniors. I'm sure you're working in a good company. You may have 200 people working under you. How many people can you personally go and give instructions? So that's why what you need to create is you need to create trustworthy people. But trustworthy people will only come when you give away the control to them. And to give away control to them, you will have to first understand that not everything is under my control. And it's fine, it's absolutely fine if some things go against me. You need to bring that acceptance in you. Once you bring that acceptance, then your need for control will reduce to a certain extent. So that's the difference actually between a boss and a leader. A leader creates people who are trustworthy. A boss always gives instructions and creates donkeys who will follow instructions. So try and create that perspective difference. And I'm sure you are doing that already. But as a psychologist, I will give you a different perspective that become a leader wherein you will create more trustworthy people instead of sitting and giving instructions to everyone. I hope I answered your question well. Thank you. So we will take next question, please. I think Sandeep ji is.
Yeah. So Mr. Sandeep has a second question. Introverts versus extroverts, which group is more likely to show a tendency of loneliness or depression?
Both. This is a very good thing actually. Very good question. ये myth है कि introverts को ज़्यादा suicidal tendencies होता है and they are very isolated. No, extroverts are good at faking it. If extroverts also go through depression, anxiety, isolation at the same level as introverts go through, but extroverts are very good at faking good health, good mental health, and introverts are not good at it. Also, extroverts may come out much faster through depression and anxiety because they throw themselves out into their experiences of the world. They throw themselves into new experiences, new groups, new people. That's why they get a very quick feedback to what they are experiencing. So an extrovert may many a times go and tell another person, yaar, mera dimag kharab hai, I'm going through depression. The immediate feedback which they get is actually helpful for them. So maybe the friend will say, chal, I will help you out, or a friend will give a disputing idea to their beliefs, and that will change their perspective towards what is going on in their life. So the feedback which people get actually stops isolation, loneliness, and suicidal tendencies. But introverts are people who will not actually go into anything like that. Introverts will not even go and face some kind of feedback. That's why it is more challenging for introverts. But suicidal tendencies, depression, anxiety, loneliness, isolation is experienced equally in both the categories. Yes, we will take one more question, Siddhi.
So Mr. Priyank Sharma wants to know, what changes in the mind, physically or chemically, prompts a person to commit suicide who has been afraid of an injection poke on his body? Can we control this preemptively in our children or friends?
Yeah, are you there? Yeah, Priyank is here. Priyank, can you talk to me?
Yeah, hi. Hi, Shrimant.
You're from Michigan?
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, we met at Milan's wedding.
Okay. Nice. So please tell me what is your question?
No, I just so what recently happened is one of my friend in actually Mumbai a few days back, he committed suicide in his car itself, and he was not that kind of a person. So who would really? He's 41 years.
41 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and he suffered a lot of losses in his business due to COVID-19. So probably that's what people are suspecting. But I just wanted to know, we are actually very weak in terms of, like people like me or people like others, they're afraid of even getting hurt a little bit. And somehow some of the people end up actually committing suicide. What changes in their head is something I want to know. Like
you want to know about the chemistry.
That journey from that weak point to, getting that strength to really move out of a balcony and jump out, what prompts them?
See, I can understand. Actually, it's a difficult question to explain. So I know, but I'm thinking of good way to explain it to you. I will very honestly, I will tell you, let's not go into the chemical part of it, because the brain is the hardware and your mind is the software. Your brain doesn't trigger suicide, your mind does. You are actually slowly walking towards a suicide months, days, months, or years before you actually attempt suicide. So any person, as I in the beginning I mentioned this, any person who has attempted or completed a suicide, it's never sudden. People believe it's sudden. Arey, achanak kya ho gaya? This is a very normal response which we give to any suicide news. It's not achanak, it's not sudden. The person has been going through a lot of challenging things, internally, externally, both, which they are not able to cope with, and that's why they take the decision. Now, as you said, aisa kya hota hai? What is that thing which breaks them completely? Is one thing very honestly is that they do not get support from the surrounding people. Very difficult to get support today, and as many people of you have seen this, mental health is considered as taboo. मतलब आप पागल हो, आप डिप्रेशन में हो मतलब आप पागल हो, आप एंजाइटी हो रहा है मतलब आप पागल हो. This is the worst kind of thing which has put labels on people. And let me tell you honestly, if any person who is about 25 has experienced depression and anxiety at least 4 times in their life already, and this is not a claim, this is I am telling you very confidently, as a child, as a teenager, and as a young adult, you have already experienced anxiety and depression. Every one of us. We do not acknowledge, we do not address, we do not even know that we are going through this unless somebody identifies it as that. So these kind of triggers are there because of which a person attempts. Now the juncture which the person takes the decision, as I said earlier again, that emotional numbness and emotional volatility, that triggers the action. But we should not think about that day, what happened that day, because that day is never important. The person who attempted or completed suicide that day is not important. We need to identify what were the triggers earlier which promoted, which encouraged the person to take such a drastic step. So many other things I would say is that they do not get support, mental support or social support from people around them. The other thing is that they are somewhere perceived by themselves and by others as weak and inferior. Successful people are admired and said कि देखो उसने कैसे किया है. आप थोड़े से वीक हो गए, आप थोड़े से डिप्रेशन में चले गए तो आपको क्रिटिसिज्म किया जाता है. अरे ये क्या लड़कियों जैसे रो रहा है, अरे ये क्या कर रहा है तू, इतने लोग प्रॉब्लम फेस करते, तुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम है. All of these things are said to them again and again by everyone around them. This is the worst kind of thing which a person in depression or anxiety experiences. People actually try to criticize that person to motivate them to get out of it. How is that going to happen, that the person is actually stuck in quicksand and then you are hammering the person from top and saying get out of it? They cannot get out of it. Your criticism, your judgment, your this is actually hurting that person in a very weird way, very sensitive way, and that never builds the confidence to come back from it. So criticism, judgment, बोलना है कि ये करो वो करो, इसमें से तो तुम बाहर आ जाओगे, टाइम निकल जाएगा, let the time pass, you will be fine, there is no problem, go and party. All of these things are wrong things to say to a person who is depressed. So I think all of you here, I would tell you this answer, that this is the reason that the person actually takes the step of attempting suicide, because all the people around them either give criticism or give solutions. Giving solutions is the worst thing, because the person believes कि आपके पास solution है, मेरे पास नहीं है. The person goes into depression more than needed. And actually the solutions which you give are never working for that person, because the problem is emotional. The problem is internal and not external. You can only give solutions for external factors, not internal factors. Internal factors have to be created, have to be gone through, have to be lived with, and an awareness has to be created. Only then you can deal with it. So I think I'm trying to answer your question in this way, that this is the reason why people actually attempt it and go and jump from a balcony, as you said, and complete their suicides.
Okay.
I hope I answered
Yep.
your
Yep.
question to a certain extent, Priyank.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for asking that question. And we are actually past 8. I'll take last question. I would like to talk more, but I don't want to take much of your time. One last question, and then we can stop.
So the last question is from Mr. Sachin Gupta.
Yeah.
He says, "Hi sir, can you please give some of your views on mental health at workplace issue related?"
Workplace right now, many people are experiencing anxiety and depression because everything is insecure. Everything is very unplanned or unpredictable right now because you don't know you will have that job or not. You may fired, or your pay scale may be cut, or you may be forced to work in a different environment, or demoted, or you may be asked for a pay cut, anything like that. So all of these things are definitely troubling people in the workplace. In the workplace, again, the same thing applies for people with depression and anxiety, that people are afraid to address it, because as soon as you address it, you are considered as a weak person. You are considered as a person who is very sensitive. You are considered as a person who cannot function or work under pressure. This is a word which is used by corporates. Work under pressure. Learn to work under pressure. But you need to understand how much can the person take. Pressure, kitna pressure? Kab tak pressure lenge? So what actually corporates, offices and seniors need to do is, even if you sit and talk to your juniors for a few minutes, that gives them a different boost. At workplace counseling, of course, you have to apply it very professionally. But if you as an employee, you as a senior can help someone and just talk to them for a few minutes, that is going to change their mind completely. Because everybody, see, understand, everybody wants to be heard. कोई तो मेरा बात सुने. This is what everybody says internally. That moment of support, that moment of emotional support which you can give works wonders. Of course, if they are going through it again and again, that needs professional advice and professional work. But as a senior, as an employee of a company, even if you address somebody's troubles, that works wonders. So the whole point is remove the taboo of depression and anxiety and mental health. अगर खुल के बात करेंगे ना सब, तो आधे प्रॉब्लम्स वहीं पे कम हो जाएंगे. Let me tell you honestly. When people realize that I am not alone in this world who is experiencing this, 50% of the problem drops off. That's why we started this. I hope, Sachin, I answered your question. Yes. One more question and we will stop. Anyone else? I'm really feeling really happy to talk to all of you. There was one more question on the chat, right? Fine. So I hope I have answered all of your questions. If there are no more questions, anybody can ask right now. Please try. Shilpa asked. I think Pooja didn't ask me a question, or Mr. Dilip didn't ask me a question. If you can. Sagar, would you like to ask me a question? I think there is network issue.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please, Dharmesh.
I have often noticed that once people cross the age of 60 or 70, their behavior pattern changes so much that once again they start behaving like children. So while it sounds very simple to say that with age people become like children, addressing the issue and not creating confrontation is a huge challenge to most children, because by that time the children are also in the age bracket of 40 to 50.
Yeah.
So it becomes a huge issue because middle age crisis is already almost catching up with the children.
Yeah.
And the parents are in a different paradigm altogether.
Yes.
So how to handle people of that age?
Fine. So first, your question is, let me address the first part of your question. why do people suddenly change, or why does their behavior suddenly change when they cross 60 or 70 and they start behaving like a child? So one reason is very obvious, that is a biological reason, that the person tends to lose their senses. The person tends to lose their intellectual abilities to a certain extent. I'm not saying that they become dumb or they become mentally challenged, but their processing becomes slower as the age exceeds. The other part, which is more challenging for them, is you need to understand that as a person who is very productive, an important part of the society, immediately and suddenly starts feeling like less important by the age of 60 and 70. They start feeling that people are not paying attention to them, giving importance to them, because they are not any more important or functional or a contributor to their family or business or anything. Now, what happens in this age group? Another thing is that a person becomes aimless, which is a very sad thing, which actually to our clients who come in what we call is geriatric population, we have clients in their 60s. We always see to it that whenever they come for counseling, we help them find something to work on every day. What that creates is self-esteem. Why? Because they feel that they are contributing to something in somebody's life or in their life. The second thing is that they feel that they are functional. So their self-esteem and their self-confidence boosts. When their self-esteem is at a good level, they don't want to get attention from others. They are very satisfied with their life. People who lose out on aims of their life, they are taken away from their business, from their job. Usually by 60s, many people retire. Many people also give away from their businesses. They pass it on their children or anybody. The major role of a person in their 60s and 70s remains as a decision maker or as an advice giver. That is what is wrong. A person should always keep working forever till the time they can physically and mentally work. What happens whenever you take away aims from a person's life? The purpose of why I am on this planet, the purpose of living goes away. So actually we are taking away the purpose of the life, purpose of an individual's life. That is more troubling for any individual than any kind of dependency. The other thing what happens is when they are not important, they feel that they are left out. They feel that they are not important to anybody in the family. So they create purposely some kind of symptoms which will need constant attention. What we call psychosomatic symptoms. The person is going through some emotional and psychological challenges and they show it as behavioral. So many people, I will tell you, in this age group, they tend to start saying that I am feeling very anxious. मेरे साथ कुछ बुरा होने वाला है. Then they start fighting with their children. Either they will pick on one person in the family who is the most vulnerable or who is the most angry one. They usually have conflicts with this one particular person. Why is it all happening? It's because it's an unconscious cry for help. It's an unconscious cry for attention. Attention, not what children want. Attention of importance, that you value me as an individual. The value which I would get for so many years is taken away from me. I'm not involved in decision making. Nobody asks for my opinion. Nobody takes my decisions. Nobody takes my advice. So mera value kya hai? When this value is taken away from you, this person starts showing behavioral challenges. It's not behavioral, it's emotional challenges wherein the person is actually begging for attention, begging for love, begging for value. So if as children, as people around senior citizens of the society, if they start paying genuine attention and love and affection to these people in this age group, majority of the problems will actually go away. Let me tell you, we have a client who is in her 60s and she kept complaining of having anxiety challenges. She would say that I am experiencing a lot of fear. I cannot sit in the room alone. I cannot go to the washroom alone. She is around 62. She is physically fit. She can walk around and everything. But she kept complaining this, and it became so severe that her daughter-in-law and her son had to actually sit by her in the night before she goes to sleep. If she wakes up in the morning, other people have to be present for her. Now, everywhere when they came to us for reasons of counseling, we worked not on what she's experiencing, but we worked on her attention, need for attention, need for value. When we started addressing those issues in her life, all her problems subsided by 6th or 7th session. Let me tell you the surprising thing. As soon as we told her that your sessions are going to end in a few days, all her symptoms came back more than before. And this was a surprising event for everyone that, अरे इतना तो problem ठीक हो गया था, अभी अचानक से कैसे सब problems वापस आ गए. Now understand, this is not the problems coming back. This is the fear that I will lose the attention, the importance, the love and affection which I was getting from all my relatives and a specialist, a psychologist will go away. So we have to address this part. We have to make them more valuable and more productive people and contribute, help them contribute into the society more at the family level and at the society level, of course, both, and more affection. So they behave as a child, because unless they behave as a child, nobody gives them attention. Nobody pays importance to them. Nobody asks them कि क्या problem है आपको. That is why they forcefully have to behave like a child, and they don't do it purposely. Understand? ये जानबूझ के नहीं करते, ये हो जाता है. So that's the reason the problems arise. I hope I answered your question. You got a little insight into that. So I think Shilpa is asking. I hope Dharmesh ji, you got the answer. If anything else, please ask related to the same question. Okay, many people have shared this, that many people are experiencing this.
Yes, I mean, last year when my father-in-law passed away, so my mother-in-law was too much into, taking care of my father-in-law. But after his death, she's kind of, off all work of the house. So I would, I made sure that, she shares some of the work or one part of, I openly said, so why don't you at least make breakfast and, but she was so much that she did not want to do. But that expectation that I should do. So, this thing, whatever you said, whatever, but she was gaining for that attention of, not my attention, but of course, my husband.
As an attention as an individual.
So my attention, she knows, okay, Madhu does not, okay, she knows what to do and what has to be done. But, but yes, but since my husband's schedule used to be very tight, and he would be traveling, so I would see her coming up with this, some of the other issue wherein, wherein she gets my attention and I have to take her to a doc. So now I can relate why she would do, but I would really get annoyed at her. I like, everything is fine. Your health wise, I'm maintaining your diet because she's diabetic. So, but why then? Why then? So I always have this question, why then? So I guess I got the answer now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. See, in this age, they don't need money. They don't need status. They don't need what you are earning. The only thing they need is value, attention, love and affection. Why? Because understand, they are in an existential phase. It's an existential question कि अब मैं उस age में आया हूँ या आई हूँ जहाँ पे my life looks in a different way. So I am closer to my new life or new, I am not using a negative word, but I am going to move on from this world. Who is going to miss me? Who is going to miss me? Who will miss me the most? Who will value me the most? All of these existential questions. Have I done something positive on this planet? Have I given something to this world? What am I? All of these existential questions come in this age group, above 60, 70, 75. If these existential questions get the right answer, they feel very satisfied कि चलो मैंने life में कुछ किया है. But that has to be a feedback and a reinforcement from the children and people around them. If they do not get that reinforcement from people around them, they feel कि यार मैंने life में कुछ किया ही नहीं. And usually understand, young people tend to get short-tempered towards anything old people say. And I will not use the word old because old is defining where I have met 75 people, healthy people who are much more healthy than 16-year-olds. So I will not use the word old, but senior citizens, whenever senior citizens say something, it is taken as an interference by the younger population. That is the most biggest problem. That is what we need to change. If we just take their advice and we do according to what we want, we take their advice, we change a little bit our perspective, it is not going to hurt anyone. But what happens, we take it as interference, and then it becomes a challenge. And many a times we have seen people in this age group who come to us with psychological problems. They have one or the other person who is very critical of them. Not purposely, again, the person, what the person believes कि मैं इसको criticize करूंगा, मैं इसको motivate करूंगा और इसको बाहर निकालूंगा. Sorry, that's not the age to motivate them. That's the age to give them importance. That's the age to give them affection, love, unconditional love and affection and value. If you do that, they will be more than happy with whatever is happening around. Fine. So, Madhumati, you are on mute. Okay.
I'm so sorry. So what Mr. Dharmesh shared, I had this because I have a 90-year-old father as well. So generally summers I spend with him, me and my daughter.
Yeah.
So, but this summer, because of lockdown, we couldn't be there. And in fact, we had plans to celebrate his 90th. About me, even my brother, none. Like he was all alone on his 90th birthday. So I guess I can understand what he goes through, but it's like he's so stubborn that he really says no to go and stay with any of his children. So I guess that there he has this insecurity that the moment I leave this house, I lose my importance, because then he says this, I'm under you.
They feel that they will lose their importance, but they also feel that I don't want to be dependent on others.
Exactly. My dad does not. I mean, he does not.
You should actually appreciate that. You should not criticize them. You should actually address that once you go to somebody else, it is not that you are dependent on others, but at least you will get a new people to talk to. So you need to put it that way, because people in this age group feel that अरे मुझे depend नहीं होना चाहिए, because whenever I get dependent, people start addressing me as a stupid person or idiot person, और आपको कुछ समझता ही नहीं है. So that dependency is not good for anyone. Understand that he may have lived a very full life, he may have lived very independent life, and then now to be dependent on someone, that ego hurts them. And on that, if somebody is critical of them, it hurts them more. कि एक तो ऐसा कंडीशन है, अब तो सबका सुनना पड़ता है, तो वो सुनना पड़ रहा है ना, that creates stubbornness.
No, he was stubborn from before, but as age passes, he's becoming more. Like, thank you. I mean, like, that's what I said in the chat. Like, I started with a hitch in the mind, like, I mean, as everybody says, everything is fine. What is wrong with me? But as the sessions are passing, I understand there were so many questions in my mind, and they are getting answered.
Thank you so much for all of you. I think I will stop because I don't want to bore you more. ऐसा होता है कि कभी-कभी फिर हम डिस्कशन से प्रवचन में चले जाते हैं, so मुझे प्रवचन में नहीं जाना है. I don't want to go into that category. So I will stop for today, and I hope I answered some of your questions. I hope that some people got an insight into their life. Also, listening to other people makes you get an insight. So that is a good platform. That's why I've always addressed it in groups. Few people have messaged us saying कि यार group में नहीं बात कर सकते हैं यार, I would like to talk alone. But of course, you can come and talk to us anytime, whenever you want alone. You can contact us. But this platform is actually to gain that understanding that every one of us has problems. Every one of us is going through some challenges, and every one of us is not mentally challenged or not having any mental disorders. We are natural, fully functional human beings who have challenges. So let's address that, let's accept that, and I will stop for the day. I'm very happy to see all of you and asking questions. I request you to please invite more people in the next session, and we will continue this next Friday, because I am extremely happy talking to all of you. I think I am feeling more positive talking to everyone than maybe you talking to me. So this give and take is very nice for me. So I think I am doing it for myself and not for you. So thank you so much, all of you. And we will stop the session for today. And the next meeting will be the same day, same time. So Friday, same time. And I hope you invite more people to discuss. And the people who couldn't ask a question today or felt awkward and hesitated in asking a question, learn that we all are same. So please come with a question next time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Priyanka. So Siddhi will stop the session. Yeah. Thank you so much. See everyone next week.